This is about heredity, meaning transmission of traits or characteristics from one generation to another generation, or in simple words, from parent to offsprings. We have both parents, that is mother and father. From them, some of the traits will be transferred to offspring. That is called heredity. Genetics refers to the study and observation of those traits and give an explanation as to know how they are transmitted. This is going on for several hundred and thousands of years to explain how somebody gets the nose like their father, or the hair like their grandfather, or walking like their mother. All these characteristics are inherited. To explain that, we have what's called genetics. Let us try to know the difference between the word heredity and genetics. As a teacher, I have seen many times children get confused about these two terms, heredity and genetics. I am trying to give you explanation so that confusion may be reduced. Heredity refers to inheritance of characteristics and traits from parents to offspring. That means whatever we normally see, like one may have a very pointed nose, or somebody have a particular type of a earlobe, somebody's eye may be brown. All these things we can see, they are called the phenotypes of characters. So how we get them is not known to us, but we get those characters, and that is called heredity. You inherit, you get it without your knowledge from your parents, they get from their parents, like that. That means each one of us have certain traits and characters that was there maybe in my great 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 grandfather or grandmother, and that is heredity. Now coming to genetics, if you want to explain how I got my nose like my mother, we have to explain that. There was no explanation for that. People used to say, yeah, they will get it. How? They did not know. It was only at this time John Gregor Mendel tried to use pea plants, and then he made several hundred experiments with them and came out with certain explanations to explain how inheritance takes place, and that is genetics. So genetics talks about the mechanism in which the traits or characters are transmitted from one generation to another generation, and study of that type of factors, or in the modern terms genes, is called genotype. So genetics mostly gives us or offers us an explanation and explains how we get the traits from the parents. I hope these two terminologies and concepts you have to understand, so that there will be no confusion in future studies of this particular concept. Today, we know more and more and more about genetics. But before 20th century, that is in 18th century or 17th century, people did not know much of it. And in the somewhere in the 19th century, John Gregor Mendel, a monk, a mathematician and also a biologist, started observing the plants, pea plants, their observable characters like height, flowers, etc. And he proposed some principles. And those principles are studied in classical genetics. And they are called principles of heredity, and mostly morphological characters are observed on that. So when you want to explain anything using the morphology or the external appearance, you call that phenotypic study. This can be done very limited way. We will not be able to explain how characters are transferred or transmitted from one individual to another individual only by studying phenotype. After that, a number of scientists worked on the same principle, but they not only took plants, but they used animals. By this time, already people knew about the work of Watson and Crick about the DNA molecule, the structure of DNA molecule, and they ultimately decided that there must be something in the nucleus, and that must be the nuclear material, and that nuclear material they called it DNA. And when close examination they found out DNA have some segments called genes, and genes are responsible for all the expression we get it, and that comes in modern genetics. And that type of study is called genotypic study. That means we have to use both phenotypic study and genotypic study to explain about the transmission of characters. Now in your class 10, the NCERT book has given ideas about the heredity and gene expression. My own understanding is that if you can understand some of the terminologies and phrases I have given here and use internet to study them and make a notes of it, you will be in a better position to understand about the concepts of genetics and heredity. Some of them I have given here. Factors or units used by Mendel. He used factors to explain observable characteristics. You know the word reproduction. Reproduction is the only biological process by which individuals are produced, but there may be asexual reproduction also, but we are talking mostly of sexual reproduction where the transmission of characters takes place in the higher organisms. Mammals, reptiles, and all these animals do not do reproduction by asexual method. You cannot cut a man into two to get two individuals. Therefore, on a higher level, we study sexual reproduction to understand the genetics. Self-pollination and cross-pollination are referred to for the plants, which Mendel used for his experiments. Breeding is again another practice where you use only certain types of plants and grow them for a number of generations. Parent refers to the plant used by Mendel for his experiments. Offspring refers to the young ones, what he got it. Progeny refers to the parents, that is the father plant, mother plant, grandfather plant, grandmother plant, like that, that's the progeny. F1 generation refers to one group of offsprings which he got from pure breeding plants. That means uh, two tall plants, when they used, you get F1 generation. Like that, the first set of offsprings when you get from using two known parents. Like that, you get F2 generation, F3 generation, goes on. Punnett is a mathematician. He suggested a square to analyze the probabilities of the work of especially Mendel. It's called Punnett square. We use this to express the genotype or phenotype in our studies. Certain other words like dominant, recessive, hybrid, alleles, mutant, assortment. All these things I request you to have a look at internet, try to collect, make a note of it, which is very easy for me to explain that, but it is difficult for you to understand in a very short span. But you can refer these things and make a note of all these things in your book. Chromatin refers to the material inside the nucleus. Chromosome or the uh, part of the chromatin. When chromatin condenses and divides into a number of pieces during cell division, it's called chromosomes. Locus refers to a small part in the chromosome. Chromosomes are made up of material called DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. And DNA, is a long, very long thread, and that can condense itself into a chromosome, and that can condense further into a chromatin. Gene refers to a segment, a small part of DNA that contains some base pairs. That means two bases will come together to form a base pair. That's a gene. A nucleotide is a part of the DNA. Nucleoside also is a part of the DNA, and bases are also part of nucleus. So when these terms, again, please read. Your books may be difficult for you to understand. Better go to internet, find out their meaning, and make the note of that. Homologous pair refers to two identical chromosomes present in a cell. When the cells are about to divide, they form, chromatin becomes chromosomes. They all arrange on the equatorial plate of the cell, and then two side-by-side chromosomes are called homologous pairs. They may contain similar type of genes. Homozygous and heterozygous refers to gametes or germ cells. Phenotype and genotype are the study types we make. When you study only morphology, that is, if you study a plant and say it only produces yellow flowers, then it's phenotype. And if you say that yellow flower is due to two genes, then it is phenotype. Gene expression refers to the product of the function of many genes. Many genes may form one particular trait or one particular character. For example, height is a function of many genes because genes produce proteins, protein becomes enzymes, enzymes work inside the cells and they produce other proteins and the growth takes place. All these things are explained in your NCERT books. I hope if you read that book 3 to 4 times. In fact, I read 5 times the same paragraph to understand about gene expression. So please read the book properly. If not, the best thing is go to internet, check up, you'll try to understand, get the proper meaning of that. To understand and interpret genetics, we have to know Mendel's work. John Gregor Mendel, during 18th century onwards, worked on pea plants. He observed 7 important morphological characters like height, color of the flower, the position of the flower, color of the uh, fruit, and the type of the seeds it has. Like that, many observable characters he studied, because at that time people never knew about the nuclear material. And he came out with certain observations, and he carefully arranged those observations and came to a conclusion, and those conclusions often are called principles of inheritance. Since many scientists, many experiments have proved his observations on inheritance is correct, they made it laws called Mendel's laws of heredity. There are three laws which are very important in the classical Mendelian inheritance, that also plays role in the modern genetics also. One is law of dominance, law of independent assortment, and law of segregation. Again, in the next PPT, I have given some idea about these things. Try to read your book and try to understand them. Mendelian inheritance talks about how transmission takes place in pea plants, which studied 7 important characters. As I told you, all of them are observable things, that is seed shape, seed color, pod shape, pod means fruit, and fruits position, flower color, height of the plant, and then where the flower is situated. He studied and he came to a conclusion that tallness is always appears in a plant. He call it dominant. Like that, all these there are 7 possible dominant characters in these things, and that what he explains in the law of dominance. That means out of the many traits the plant or animal may have, some of them are expressed in every generation, and that is called dominant gene or a dominant trait, and that becomes dominant law of dominance. Second is called law of segregation. He said if there are many traits in a organism, all the triads will not go in a bulk. They will not go together. They get segregated. They get separated. So a yellow flower, a yellow fruit may not be seen in a pink or a long plant, like that. All the characters may not go together. They segregate. We can explain that in phenotypically, also genotypically. Law of independent assortment tells that if there are many characters, or if there are many traits, or there are many units that will give the character for the organism, if there are many genes, then these genes will independently sort out in the offsprings during cell division or during reproduction. So these 3 laws can be used in the classical Mendelian inheritance or maybe in the modern genetics. Now, modern genetics do not depend much on the phenotype. It depends upon whatever the structure are present inside the cell. So modern genetics looks into molecules, especially DNA present in the nucleus. It looks into cellular level for cytogenetics. It will study not one gene but a group of genes to find out how expression is made. And they also analyze the phenotypes and genotypes and ultimately explain to us how inheritance of characters takes place. So modern genetics uses mostly the information they get by observing the cellular material, especially genes, protein synthesis, and all such type of similar molecular activity. And then they finally come to a conclusion and explain about the inheritance of traits from the parents to offspring. In order to understand the mechanics of the modern genetics, we have to understand the basic structure of the DNA molecule. You know, DNA molecule is present in the cells of almost all the eukaryotes. That means the organisms having the nucleus. Until people thought that DNA was present in all the animals and plants, but they have found out that DNA is present only in the eukaryotes, that is prokaryotes do not contain them, like virus and other things do not contain DNA. Now Watson and Crick's idea of DNA is like a double helix gave a further acceleration for study of genetics. And what is that we have to understand in this case will be DNA is like a double helix, like a ladder twisted in a number of ways. On these double helix is made up of three different types of materials. One is called the phosphate, second is called the sugar, third is called the base. These three units, when they join, they form the nucleotide, and many nucleotides join together in the single strand of DNA and they become two strands. And that kind of base pairs will be there in the DNA molecule. Millions and millions of base pairs are present in a DNA molecule. They have found out that a small segment of DNA, that means DNA segment containing some 25 or 30 pairs of nucleotides will form a gene. And genes are plenty. Millions and millions of genes are present in a chromosome. For example, human body or human cells have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each chromosome may contain millions of genes, but these genes do work independently and collectively make gene expression in the form of phenotype. So try to understand these things in your higher class in much more way, but for today's in class 10, what you should understand that phenotype of a plant or an animal comes out by the gene expression. Genes present in the cells will produce enzymes. Enzymes will produce proteins, and proteins ultimately will form organs, and organs will form the organ, and that is the design. So the entire design of the organism comes from the basic structure of the DNA in the form of genes. That is what we should understand at this level. As a teacher, I have not done much research, but I have studied. While creating this clip, I had in my mind that children who study books may find it difficult to understand. Therefore, what I suggest to them, please do as what I did. Go to internet, find out the meanings of the words I just suggested to you. Use Creative Commons and try to get images. Use NCERT book 3 or 4 times to understand what it is. So I am grateful to all the resources like internet, Creative Commons and other books. I express my gratitude and regard for them. Thank you. As young students, try to understand more and more of genetic material, that is DNA. Today you have plenty of literature. You have cytogenetics, molecular genetics, and so many other types of studies are available in the higher studies. So if you understand the basics of genetics, that is DNA structure and how DNA is made and what is the meaning of gene and so many things are there about the cell. If you understand all of them in your 10th class, you will be doing your own good, and you can study genetics and heredity in higher classes.